and salutations, everyone. How are you today, Grand Rising? Welcome to my channel, A New You Holistic Wellness. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We'll be preparing party favors while we prepare for this reading. I've already pulled the card and kind of done some spiritual connecting with it to get a real clear understanding and direction about the meaning of this card. This card is Gaia. This is the card that was pulled. And this came from one of my favorite decks, the Awakened Soul deck. It's an oracle deck created and written by Ethany. The art is by Danielle Mulligan. And actually the card that was pulled today, wow, it just dawned on me, it's the cover for the box. That's like major. That basically says like, that sums up what this book is about, or this entire deck. And the fact that we pulled the main card today lets me know that this is a very significant reading, for one, and a very powerful reading. I mean, we pulled the card that is the summation of the entire deck. That is the, what's the word I'm looking for? The, you know, like the leading force, the powwow, the, what is, excuse me, which is exactly the spiritual symbolism and meaning of this card. Like, Gaia is a symbolism of life. She's considered the goddess of earth and life. She was considered a Greek goddess. And the soul of earth. So that's what I'm saying. Like, for this card to be like the powwow of the deck, I mean, that's truly the soul of this card. You are the soul of the earth. Pulling this card today was very, it's very personal, for one. Very personal. And that's hot. Very personal in confirming just kind of some direction for myself, for my ministry, for this channel, my purpose. So if you are tapped in today with this card, it's really calling you to understand and know on a much greater and deeper level your calling and your purpose. This card is really calling you to really go in, go deep, really get connected. Gaia, a mother, nurturer, giver of life. So very much in the natural, somebody is about to birth a child. My daughter, who is also very intuitive and spiritually aligned, connected with source energy, she just said yesterday, somebody pregnant. And then I pulled the card today for Gaia, the giver of life. Somebody is definitely about to birth something. And I mean, it's not just like something small. It's something major. A major birthing. I mean, new life. Complete new life. Game-changing life. Gaia was the goddess of raw maternal power. I mean, she is the one. Somebody is about to be in very much of a leadership position where they are responsible for the lives of others, for the sustainability of others, for the livelihood of others. A key position is about to be given. If there's a contemplation about whether you should walk in that role, the answer is yes. Do you accept the position? Yes. It's great responsibility. Yes. But you are fit for it. You are Gaia. You are the giver of life. You are well equipped. Gaia was said to have birthed children without a man. In, I want to say, Roman mythology, she is the equivalent of Tellus, Tellus, or Terra, Terra. In Egyptian belief and philosophy, which I ascribe to wholeheartedly, Gaia is the equivalent of Nut, the goddess of the sky, and wife of the earth god, Geb, G-E-B. So basically, the creator of this earth. The giver of life. Gaia is responsible for all of nature. For full life force. She is majestic in her creation, but yet walks in great solitude. Like she maneuvers and goes about the earth, but yet there is great solitude. There is a connection to all things on earth, but there is great solitude. There's a message in that. God is calling you to be connected, but keep a distance, keep some boundaries. Remain in solitude. Stay connected, but remain in solitude. This reading is calling you to really recognize and understand your role and the significance of the role that you play. Just like Gaia protects the earth, the idea of Gaia being the mother of earth is that, you know, when you consider nature and life and how things work together, you know, just how our body functions, how everything is just aligned. One thing affects another, but yet it all works and comes together so cohesively. When we think about the chemicals and all living organisms of this earth talking to one another, working hand in hand together so that there is sustaining life here on earth. Really think about that. How do you think we're really existing if there is no connection between the living elements and organisms of this earth? Like, we have to cohabitate and work together. That's a message. You have to cohabitate and work together in order for there to be sustainable life. All right. We have to protect life on this earth. You know, we take so much for granted. I'm just going to speak for myself. I didn't grow up, you know, with the idea of protecting nature and the earth, or even having any connection to the need to respect Mother Earth. It was kind of like we was just here and it was taken for granted that, you know, all this beautiful landscaping, the oxygen and air that we breathe, that is never too noxious for us not to sustain life here. Much of that we take for granted. But today, we are being called to really walk in appreciation and glory of the majesty of this earth realm that we reside in, and the spiritual connection that brings. You know, when you think about, again, how did it all happen and come about, you know, in different religions and things of that nature have different tales and stories, but it all comes down to there was one main character, so to speak, you know, that kind of governed, that we look up to. But in all of the religions, they're all connected in some way to the earth. We got to get back to nature, to the earth. And I'm telling you, that's what this reading is calling for. Really understanding our power and our majesty as a feminine energy. We are being called to protect this earth as a mother. Mother Earth, Mother Earth. That's the name I've been given. And I honestly want to say that not that I took it for granted, but that I haven't really claimed the name, I guess, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I haven't truly identified with walking in this energy, although I'm doing it, which is why, I was given the name. I certainly identify with it, but I really haven't laid claims to it. And I know that my spirit is, like I said, this message was very personal. I know that my spirit is calling me to lay claims to it. You know what I'm saying? To truly walk in it. And to get into a space of really understanding the power that holds. I sense also that Spirit is calling for us to identify with motherhood, that we get back to that space of honoring it. Times have truly changed. Times have truly changed. And although we are spiritual beings, we live this natural life. And we reside in this natural world. Excuse me. So we deal with natural things. And where I'm going with that is, in the natural, times have really changed in society. We don't take motherhood as seriously. We've dropped the ball on nurturing and fully nourishing and guiding our children. And God is really calling us back. Spirit is really calling us back. Back where we take motherhood as a sacred thing, to be the giver of life, sustaining life. Like, life is in your hands right now. You are the one that determines if something lives or dies. I also know that Spirit is really calling us to get connected to nature right now. Like I said, to really connect to that Mother Earth in us all. Because, again, in the natural, shit is shifting. We will no longer have access to some of the resources that we've had. I know you've heard of global warming. I mentioned earlier how somehow life sustains on this earth where, the temperatures are tolerable to sustain life. But when I say shit is shifting, and that's because we're not taking care of the planet. We're not loving Mother Earth as we should. We are so disrespectful to her. We do not honor her at all. We've lost the spiritual traditions and connections to Mother Earth. The indigenous tribes and the tribes of our African ancestors, they were very indigenous in their beliefs, where, again, being connected to nature and earth, and that being the guiding factor in the way we live. We've gotten so far away from that, and I know that Spirit is calling today for us to get back to it. Because we are killing Mother Earth, littering, this is not my book. Nope. The 42 Principles of Ma'at, one of them states, I will be kind to all living things. I will not desecrate this earth. And I think that's something that we just, like I said, we take it for granted. The pollution of Mother Earth. And Spirit is calling us to come into alignment with Mother Earth, that we have a great respect for her and all that she offers and supplies. And man, you know, there's so much that we don't know, so much of a connection that we don't have simply because of a lack of knowledge. And I truly endeavor to bring knowledge and insight to all that which was lost, you know, through the generations. I myself didn't get it. I'm getting it all just by inherent, you know, inherently in being spiritually connected. So with that, I'm being guided and provided with spiritual insight to these things. And from there, I'm doing research on my own, because my spirit is letting me know we got to get back. We have to start appreciating food more and considering it a sacred nourishment, not just food, but a sacred nourishment for our bodies. We should be eating to fuel our bodies for nourishment, not to get full and fat. So your next meal, when you go to indulge, and I'm taking my own personal advice because I've gained some weight, by honestly not treating food as a sacred nourishment, you know, overindulging, not being conscious of my intake. Shit has shifted so much with the way food is prepared. The way the animals are raised. Like I said, we have no connection to nature anymore, and no connection to, you know, the source. So in raising these animals, there is no connection to their sacredness. You know what I'm saying? And man, oof, we got to get back, y'all. We got to get back. When you understand the sacredness of food, it presents a more mindful presence where you become aware of the blessing of it. Like I said, when you're connected to the sacredness of it, the awareness of that blessing, it gives you a much greater appreciation for it, and you tend not to overindulge, but only use the amount that's needed. Shelter, the things in our life. And again, we're talking about Gaia and a greater connection to Mother Earth, and a greater appreciation for sustaining life and how to sustain life, how it's done. We're called today to make a greater connection with our spirits, which are connected to Mother Earth, to nature. We are being called to make a greater connection today with Gaia, Mother Earth, the goddess of the sky, Nut. So much we take for granted our shelter. We take for granted the materials that were the natural raw materials that we use to provide shelter. And even the materials that are not raw and natural, they were made of materials that were. We need to have a greater appreciation for those things today. Crystals, a lot of us have tapped into. It's kind of somewhat become a trend, but there's so much to it. The crystals of this earth are literally minerals, providing nourishment and spiritual connection for us. And we're just so not tapped in. But today we're being called to tap in. To tap in, to really connect with the sources, natural resources. I mean, to become one with them. I did a reading the other day, and I'm telling you, Spirit bringing it back because she's not playing. She said what she said. Get out into that world, that nature, and touch a motherfucking tree. Become a tree hugger for real. It's going to ignite a fire in you. And how do you operate in wholeness and being well-rounded if you're not connected to all of the elements? Spirit is really calling you to allow it to overtake you. Be very intentional about your efforts. You know, it's really amazing to me. I endeavor to be an herbalist, a full-blown herbalist at some point, you know, and I'm studying right now and I'm reading, and really just, it really comes down to living the life, using these tools and resources and herbs in your daily life. That's how you get familiar with them. But again, I don't know about you, but I didn't grow up with an introduction to herbs or anything of nature for that most part. Something very interesting. This is just one, but like I said, in my studies, I've discovered many plants that are right in our neighborhoods. Herbs that we look right over, and they have so many natural benefits. Chicory. It's a common weed. It grows freely, even in the most impoverished areas of urban landscape. Ooh, it's a message in that too. But there's something that many of us are not aware of. Chicory is an extender spirit, making coffee go further in times of economic depression. Now that's valuable because, like I said before, we are going into times of economic depression. And we are going to need to tap into these natural resources. I'm telling you. You better hear me. You're going to need to tap into these natural resources. And like many are clueless. I'm not completely clueless, but I know there's so much that I need. And I know that Spirit is calling us right now to get it. So please take heed. Take heed. I want to give a little quick message here on that chicory. A common weed that grows freely even in the most impoverished areas of urban landscape. Spirit said, you still some good even in the hood. That's right. You still some good even in the hood. That's right. And know that you're still some good even in the hood. Thank you, Spirit. You know, when you think about, for instance, this chicory, it grows freely in urban even in urban areas. And I say even because we typically think that, or we identify with the most beautiful plants being, flourishing in the non-urban areas. When we think of urban, we think of impoverished, dilapidated. So even in those impoverished and dilapidated areas and situations, there is great nourishment there. There is great body there. When you think about that plant growing freely, but we think about how many people are hungry. Think about how much we spend when we go to the grocery store. Just on herbs, seasonings, natural seasonings. We giving these people all the money. Yes, there is time in producing it ourselves, but the benefits outweigh the inconvenience and the time. We got to get back, I'm telling you. And there is also more than anything, like I said, a spiritual connection to growing your own herbs and having a respect for Mother Earth, and all that she provides. We need to start working together. All elements work in perfect harmony to ensure life on Earth is sustained. That's the only way it's going to, happen. If we start working together and start understanding the need to work together. The need for harmony. Keep the peace. Keep the peace. Keep the peace. Keep the peace. The need for harmony. I hope y'all really be picking up on the little stuff, the underlying, the undertones, the underlying messages that Spirit be throwing out there, them nuggets. I hope y'all don't be missing it. Gaia symbolizes Earth as a living organism. Gaia symbolizes life, new beginnings. I'm saying you are really about to be in a position of power. A real position of power and leadership. Gaia represents femininity and female power. I am woman, hear me roar, okay? Be ye confident, ladies. I am woman, hear me roar. Roar. I am woman, hear me roar. So today we are affirming we walk in confidence and assuredness. Today I walk in confidence and assuredness. Fertility, somebody is definitely pregnant. The giver of life. Really think about that. I also sense Spirit had given this to me earlier, that somebody is not really taking their motherhood duties and responsibilities seriously. Not just somebody, manybody. We have left the responsibility of raising the children, to their siblings. We are negating our responsibilities as parents. Your duties, your covering, your protection, your leading, your guiding, that does not end at 18. You are the sustainer, the giver of life. You don't just drop the life at 18. The life continues. There is this continued sustaining living being. Therefore, there is continued nourishment that's needed, continued watering that's needed. You have a plant for 18 years, you don't just let it go after the 18th year and think it's supposed to sustain on its own. No, you have to continue watering that plant for as long as you have it. Until there is no more life. So stop negating your parental, I don't want to say responsibilities. Your parental protection. Excuse me. Stop negating it at 18. Because here's the thing. If we had instilled in them all that needed to be in them by that time, they wouldn't need us as much at that age by the time they're 18. So at some point, we got to be accountable for the needs that our children have as adults. I know y'all ain't ready for that because you did the best you could. But baby, maybe that wasn't good enough and you just got to own that. Because more than likely, I ain't gonna say that. But did you really do the best that you could? Did you really? Excuse me. And I'm not saying beat yourself up. You know what I'm saying? No condemnation. But as always, awareness and ownership. Agriculture. Motherhood. Excuse me. Renewal and rebirth. Renewal and rebirth. This is a time of renewal and rebirth. A time of cleansing. A time of purifying. A time of reconnecting, renewal, refreshing, abstaining. This is a time of abstination, fasting, abstaining, hold back, hold back. Environmental consciousness. Again, reconnect with Mother Earth. No littering. Don't throw that shit out the window. Recycle. I mean, this is literally the planet that we're living in. Eat more fruits and grains. Gaia represents the cornucopia. You're going to be presented with a cornucopia of opportunities. I like it. I like it. Yes, Spirit. Yes, 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 yes. And don't be afraid of the one that has great responsibility. There is great reward that will come with that as well. Excuse me. Just know that you have the power and ability to create life on earth. You have the gift of prophecy. That's why I said this was very personal for me. I know that Spirit is confirming some things. You have the gift of prophecy. You are the guardian of children and plants. You are the opposer of cruelty and the bestower of dreams. This is really for somebody who has a great spiritual calling on their lives, healers, intuitives. That's why I said this is so very personal for myself. For real. You are the bestower of dreams. I mean, I really sense that somebody has, it's just kind of been a pulling at your spirit to do it. To do it. And you just been sitting on it. You don't want to. It's a lot, whatever. But it's something that you know you're supposed to do and you need to do. You know it's your purpose. You know it is. And you've been sitting on your ass for real. God is saying you are the bestower of dreams. You are the guardian of children. You have to walk in this. You have to. You have to. Kill it. You have to. You cannot get away from it. I'm going to tell you that. You can't get away from it. But the exciting thing is that there's going to be opportunities for you to walk in it with totally and completely fulfills your purpose. But all you have to do is say yes to it. You got to be willing to say yes to it. I mean, because it ain't going to happen with, you not saying yes. And certainly, how do you know if you don't even try? Ooh, child. I'm trying to tell you. See, you are being called to walk in your spiritual gifts. Continue and even further your spiritual practices to activate your gifts even more. To go deeper. And follow your intuition, follow your spirit. If your spirit tell you to light 3 candles or pray 5 times a day or once a day for 5 days straight, you know what I'm saying? You don't need anybody to validate that, to validate your spirit. You know what I'm saying? There is no right or wrong to this. There is no one way. Like I said, over time, I've discovered that, as I spoke of earlier, all the religions are universally connected. And they come down to one main worship, so to speak. One main head, Godhead, And typically, again, it's all connected to the elements of the earth. So, I forgot where I was going with that, but just stay with me. Just the power that you have right now and what you are really being called to do. It's on you. Believe it. You don't need any, outside validation. You just got to believe it and know it in yourself. Look, and that was falling right in line with the next thing. Gaia, the story of Gaia, she created Earth without a mate. Quit thinking you need somebody to validate you. You can do it by yourself. Quit thinking you need a man. You don't. It's great to have one, but I'm speaking of, you staying in a relationship that you really want freedom from, but, just the desire to be with a man and, maybe he's been a supporter financially this whole way and you feel like you can't do it without him. You are Mother Earth, the sustainer and giver of life. You gave him life. You give him life daily. You understand me? You give life daily. Being present on this earth, your very presence gives life. And I know Spirit is really calling you to just understand your power. Just as a woman, you are the mother of earth. You give life, the sustainer and giver of life. Baby, you're so important. I mean, you are so valuable. Just your very existence. You are that one, okay? So really begin to take power and control of your own self, your own existence. Understand the weight, the weight, the weight of the power that you hold. For real. Mothers are powerful forces for social cohesion and integration. Like, you are the one. You hold this shit together. We're caregivers, breadwinners. We make sacrifices. Motherhood is selflessness, nurturing, nourishment. You are being called to care. Care on a more deeper level. Delve in, indulge, go all the way in, do more than tap the surface. Understand the calling on your life. Understand that we as mothers are responsible for, excuse me, molding and shaping the direction of everything, of all existence. We are the life force. The life force is the condition that distinguishes animals and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change. We are the ones responsible for life, for continual change. We are the one that distinguishes life from death, from plants to inorganic matter. We are the ones that determine the capacity for growth and reproduction. It's up to you. You decide if the relationship flourishes. You decide if you move forward in the job. You decide. It's up to you as the woman. Female energy. So Spirit is saying tap in and accept the position and the role at this time. It's on you. That is definitely what Spirit is saying. It's on you. So, all right. I did not want to go over 30, 40 minutes. We're at 53, but that's it. Gaia, tap into your Gaia, Mother Earth Spirit. Get out in nature. Be one. Reconnect. Renewal. Life. Somebody pregnant too. Again, confirmation. I don't know who that's for. Let me know though. But if you like a personal reading, mentorship, guidance, coaching, you can reach me directly at anuuwellness@gmail.com. And that's ANUIYU wellness@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in today, and we'll see you later. Oh yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.